Hi, I'm Jason, and this is the Cultural Breakdown. Warner Brothers and DC have a real tough time moving forward because a lot of people aren't sure what to make with their shared universe. In the past, it was pretty obvious that, like, okay, any movie that came out was part of the DCEU when Zack Snyder was kind of in charge of everything. But now that they got rid of him and replaced him with James Gunn, a lot of people are unsure, like, what's going to happen with this? Are the movies that are coming out part of James Gunn's universe, or are they part of the old one, and these are just kind of the leftovers that are going to get erased anyway? Because James Gunn has announced his lineup of movies, and a lot of the stuff coming out, like The Flash, Aquaman, Blue Beetle, are not a part of that. So it's left to see, like, well, do people still want to see these? And so far from James Gunn, there's been like no word on like whether these movies like Blue Beetle are gonna be involved in it, or are they left over. I mean, he's been unclear and kind of said contradicting things about it. You get contradicting statements from the studio, and I think a lot of that is predicated on how they perform in the box office. And so far, things aren't looking good for them. You look at The Flash, and that was one of the biggest bombs of all time. Now, to be honest, a lot of that is the result of Ezra Miller and his behavior outside of the movie. But at the same time, you can't just ignore the idea that, like, well, maybe people just don't want to see it because it's part of the old thing and it's not going to matter moving forward. I mean, I don't think all movies should have to be built on each other. I think you can do standalone movies, but at the same time, if people aren't interested in seeing it, if it's not part of the shared universe, because that is the major draw. I mean, if you even look at Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, it says it's decent scores, at least for audiences. So people seem to have at least a favorable view of The Flash, but yet it was one of the biggest bombs of all time on a budget of probably, it says like around $200 million. Yeah, and then it's another 150 or so million for promotional and things like that. I mean, this movie is probably looking to lose around $200 million at the box office, and now they're worried about other things like Blue Beetle, and that's where you're getting stuff like this. The Blue Beetle director is kind of changing his tune on how people perceived his movie. So when it first came out, or at least the first trailer came out, there was that line included that said Batman's a fascist, and a lot of people didn't like that line. This comment from Ryan Kinnell, a YouTuber, said, at the end of the Batman is a fascist, this is pandering to these stupid effing 20-year-old free profile pictures. She, them, don't know what your effing gender is. Don't buy comics, don't have money to go to movies. That's who that effing S is pandering to. Batman is a fascist. F off with that. That's so stupid, he declared. Okay. Tell us how you real feel. All right. Well, anyway, though, there's a response tweet to this. It says George Lopez saying Batman is a fascist has this MF riled up. I need more lines like that in the movie. If this is, if they're freaking out like this, to which the director replied, "Well, my job's done." So that's obviously not a good approach to do, because you're not supposed to pander to audiences. You're not supposed to antagonize the audience like that by pandering to certain groups and things like, because I mean, yeah, I cannot imagine like a seasoned director, like let's say like Scorsese or Spielberg or whatever, going out and doing that. I mean, Oppenheimer's coming out and you don't see Christopher Nolan on social media antagonizing people or stuff like that, because that's just not smart from a business standpoint. I mean, it's not professional either, but you get these up and coming directors who don't really have much of an audience before this, all of a sudden get a bit of a microphone, so they're like, oh, I'm just going to say how I really feel now, and it's not necessarily the best thing. But now he's trying to backtrack and say, like, we always wanted to have fun with the way Rudy, that's George Lopez's character who says the fascist line, talks about other superheroes. So to the people who got mad at it, give us a chance. We're trying to have fun with the character that we love, and everybody in our movies loves Batman and Superman and Flash. Okay, it's not the fact that people don't care about those characters in the movie or whatever. It's the fact that you put that line in there for a reason, and we're glad that it antagonized people. I mean, you could have come out from the get-go and said, like, oh, people, maybe not even people that are taking the line the wrong way, just say like, hey, just, we understand why people might not like that inclusion of that line, but just watch the movie, and in context it makes a lot more sense with the way the characters are, and I think you'll enjoy the movie and stuff like that. It's like, okay, I mean, you could have just said this at the start too. It's like, oh, that's just the way the character thinks about other superheroes within that world. It's like, okay, fine. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to reflect the filmmakers or whatever. I mean, you just do something, but don't just say like, haha, we're glad you're mad, cry more and stuff like, I mean, that doesn't help anyone. And I'm surprised studios are still allowing the creatives behind projects to actually say things like this, because it doesn't help anyone to antagonize people. I think in the past they would get certain views from hate watch and stuff like that, but now people are just like, you know what, fine, I just won't see it. And we're seeing that at the box office right now with movies. I mean, there wasn't so much antagonism towards Flash, but I mean, you just have a lot going against this with the way the shared universe is, and now you got this other issue with the director. So it's really going to hurt them in the long run. But ultimately, I don't think anything really matters, because people just aren't excited about this movie. And is it going to lose money? Maybe. I mean, the budget is small enough for a superhero movie, but I mean, I've seen superhero movies make way less, so we'll just see. But I'm expecting this one to be another of a long list of bombs coming from DC. And with James Gunn's proposed universe, I don't know if there's going to be money left over to make it, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, maybe I think his first few will probably be a lower budget, which I think would be a smart move, not only for just financial reasons, but just for the fact that it allows more creativity and less studio control, because then you're not required to try to pander to every group. You can just focus it more, and I think that would be beneficial for them. But let me know what you think in the comments. I mean, are you even excited about the future of the DCEU? Do you even care? I mean, are you going to see Blue Beetle? I mean, I'm not. I mean, I don't think anyone really cares about, no one's talking about it, but let me know what you think. And if you like this video, make sure you click the like button, share the video out there, and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.